Hi, welcome to Dissolve. I'm Samir, and today I want to talk about the cycles which occurs in life, which occurs in the timeline of your life, and these cycles consume your time which you have in this life. These cycles consume your energy. So, whatever limited resources you have, the time and the energy, these cycles consumes your limited resources. Now, what do I mean by these cycles? And why do you care about these cycles? So, these cycles are the wheel of karma. And once you spin the wheel of karma, it run its full course. And while it is running its course, it consumes your life, it consumes your energy, it consumes your focus, attention, consciousness, and by the time it finishes its course, it leaves you in more karmic debt, which means you are in the worst condition than before. And this condition itself has its own karmic baggage, has its own wheel of karma, which runs its course again, and then the cycle perpetuates, which means once a cycle begins of any karma, it runs its course, it leaves you in a further deteriorated condition, and this deteriorated condition has its own karma, has its own baggage, which runs its course further, and then this cycle of karma perpetuates and leaves you with nothing. Your life is gone. Whatever time you had in this life is gone. Your energy was spent on something which just deteriorated you, destroyed you, usurped all your life, and then you die with nothing. No understanding, no realization, with no truth. You haven't realized the truth by the time you die because you were all consumed by the programs given to you by the society, implanted in you by the society, by the external world, and you never bothered to investigate about your truth. You just followed the league. Now, this video has been a bit cryptic. Let me unfold and open this to you so that you can get more clarity about this, so that you can get some insights and course correct your life. And let's use an analogy. What do I mean by cycle? What do I mean by wheel of karma? What do I mean by worse condition than before? And what do I mean by the perpetuation of these cycles till the time you die? So let's suppose in your childhood something happened with you, something bad. Nobody supported you, nobody loved you, and you have this void in you which always craves for love, for support, for assistance, for adulation and admiration. So, because of that past experience which happened in your childhood, your mind created this identity, this persona, which wants admiration and adulation. Now, you are not that identity, this persona. This persona and this identity is in you. But because of the ignorance, because of the unawareness, because of the lack of understanding, you internalized that episode which happened in your childhood. You assume that it is you, and because of which the identity which got created by your mind, you assumed that identity as you. Now, this identity is you, this void full identity, this suffering identity is you. And it happened because of the ignorance, because of the lack of understanding and wisdom. Now, this identity is always looking for external validation, admiration from outside, love from outside, without realizing that this is happening to you and you can let go of that. You can just settle in yourself, which is full of self love, which is full of satisfaction and calmness. But because you don't have this understanding, because you assumed this event which happened to you, you have become this constructed, deluded, suffered identity. And now you go out, now you look for people who can give you this admiration. Now you have this narrow field of perception. You don't see what the other person actually is, whether this person is actually aligned with your identity or not, the real identity, the real self of yours or not, whether this other person is aligned with your values or not, whether this person is actually good for your mental health or not. Because you have this narrow field of perception, you just want the soft corner from wherever you can get it. So you just go out with this tunnel vision that give me some support, give me some admiration because something happened with me in the past and I was neglected, I was rejected, I was abandoned. So give me some love. And by some kind of coincidence, you also get some people who give you some kind of support because they also had some kind of lack in their life and they were looking for some kind of company. So coincidentally, you meet this person and now you get into a relationship and no investigation, no inquiry has happened. It was just happening based upon emotions and based upon lack and void. Now you guys get into the relationship, which is totally based upon emotions, no investigation, no understanding, no truth, nothing. And you get along for some time, and then you both start to realize that, oh, this person is not compatible with me. The things which the other person prefer you don't prefer, and the things you prefer the other person doesn't prefer. And from here the self conflict arises, and from here the fight starts to happen. And this is the wheel of karma. This is the cycle. The cycle begin when you internalize that trauma, and then the other cycle began when you assumed that identity that you are this voidful person. And then the subsequent milestone of the cycles are finding the partner, looking for the partner, getting into a relationship, realizing that you are not compatible with the other person and the other person is not compatible with you. And this cycle will keep on going. This wheel of karma will keep on going, will keep on consuming your time and energy and your life. Then more conflict will happen. You might have a child, and then the responsibility of the child, and then you are caged from all the directions. You have the responsibility of the partner, you have the responsibility of the child, and now you have to take care of the family. If you are the breadwinner, you have to earn money as well. And then if you guys are getting into more conflict, you might go for the divorce, and then you go through that whole ride of filing the divorce, getting separated, and then dividing the responsibility of the child, and then balancing this tough act of your personal life, taking care of the child, having a meaningful relationship with the person, and then finding a new relationship. Now you see what is happening. So many things are happening which is on this cycle. And the cycle begin when you internalize that trauma. And then you got into the worst situation when you assumed that identity of lack. And this cycle got even worse when you went out with this narrow field of vision, with this narrow field of perception, to look out for a partner who can give you some momentarily support, momentarily adulation and admiration. And then based upon that good feeling, which was based upon your assumed identity, you went into that relationship, and then you had the family, and then you had a kid, and then you are going for that divorce and separation because you both were not compatible. So this is one example of the cycle of the wheel of karma, how it begins, how it usurps your life, your energy, your consciousness, and then you're left with nothing because these cycles consume all your time. The cycle began when you are 5, and then the cycle is rolling on again and again and again, creating more wheels of karma again and again. And by the time you are 35, 40, 45, 50, you are left with nothing because you have spent all your psychic energy, all your focus, all your consciousness, all your time, all your energy playing all these parasitic games which were just feeding on you. Sometimes this, sometimes that, and this is just one aspect, one cycle, one wheel of karma of life. There can be a cycle of career, there can be a cycle of business, there can be a cycle of getting stuck in a wrong country, in a wrong place. There can be a cycle of moving to a wrong place. There can be a cycle of getting into a relationship which was not good for you, but you got into it because of some kind of misunderstanding or assumption. There can be a cycle of self image which you had assumed in past based upon some kind of assumptions. There can be a cycle of constant self talk which is negative. There can be a cycle of failure schema which you always project into the outer world, which has this narrative that you are good for nothing, you'll never be successful. So all these cycles happens in the head. They dominates your psyche, your mind, and by domination, by colonizing your mind, they usurp the capacity of your intellect and use it against your existence. They uses your past experiences and memories and manipulates them, contort them, and shapes them in the form which is detrimental to you. And then by the time you are 50, 60, 70, 80, you are totally lost, deluded, confused. And in a retrospect, if you come to some kind of truth, you realize that, oh, my whole life was just like a football, being kicked from one position to the other, by one person to the other, by one situation to the other, by one episode to the other, by one trauma to the other. I was just a football, got kicked all the time, got slapped all the time, got tortured all the time, and never realized what I was, who I was, what was the meaning of my life. And you go from this life with a lot of regret, pain, that you never discovered what you were, what was your truth. So I'll end this video with this note that be very careful what cycles you get into and what wheels of karma you start, because these wheels of karma doesn't end in one day, 1 week, 1 month, 1 year. Once they are started, once you have assumed that identity which is running the course of this wheel of karma, they runs for years and decades, and they usurp all the limited resources which you have, all the mental capacity, your consciousness, your focus, your attention, your time and energy. And then they bankrupt you psychologically, spiritually, existentially. And by the time you realize the truth, you don't have the energy to run the right wheel of karma, which can actually lead you to awakening or realization or liberation. So be very careful, be very mindful what you start. Don't get into anything or everything. Have this analytical mind, this skeptical mind, which investigates, inquires, and then go for the things. So this is my take on this topic. Just in case if you have any question, comment down below. We'll meet in the next video. Till then, take care. Bye. Namaste.